they come out clean.
Welcome back. It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday. First in the buckets, Rashad Milligan here. I'm here with my co-host Malik Brown. Malik, how you doing? First and foremost,
I'm doing good, brother. Doing good on a good Monday. Had some good food the day before, man. Hey, I'm feeling good. Got my Hawk shirt. Yes, sir.
He got the 50 burger. He said the 50 burger. He got a 50.
7 going to the fourth quarter tonight, but behind Trae Young, they came back and
Shouts out to Quavo. Shouts out, Migos.
Shout out to Quay.
Shout out to Quay. The Quay way. You know what I'm saying? Straightening. Right? Everything the kids are saying these days. And you're actually doing well because, I asked you before we recorded and energy was good and stuff like that. As opposed to last week where we recorded at like midnight right after the game. And
bro,
I think, it's just
none of us had it.
Yeah. None of us had it. We were running on fumes, drawing stuff straight out there. Shout out to Jesse. But you got a special guest this week, Malik.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready. I'm hyped. Man. Who we got? Yeah.
Man, hold on now. This young lad, he's known me since I was a young lad. He's known me since I was a teenager. I was 18.
Young boy, yeah.
Which feels like a galaxy ago.
Yeah.
I wasn't paying bills.
Talk to him. Speak.
I used to see him. I said, hey, little fella. Yeah. He said, I'm coming for your spot one day. I said, oh, okay, hold on now. I seen him throughout the years work his butt off. Video after video, series after series, skits, talking points, anything, podcasts, whatever the heck. Books after book after book. He releases books under the name JC. You guys give it all.
My hand's hot.
The way up. From Kennesaw, Joshua. JC Chigumira. Josh, what the heck is good, bro?
That introduction was 5 stars. I want to tell you that introduction was 5 stars. I want to say again, my people, Malik. I want to give a shout out to Rashad. Y'all been a big inspiration to me with sports and things like that, journalism and analysts, stuff like that. Because I used to do a lot of that stuff earlier on for the Hawks. As a YouTuber, and then I kind of moved and shifted for a few other things, but I really am a big fan of the Hawks and NBA basketball.
And Josh, you were at the first round games. You were at the first round against the Knicks, and did you go to the second round? I know you went to the watch parties in the second round. Did you go into any games?
I went to game 4 of each of the series. So I went to. I believe I'm trying not to mistake that I went to Okay, no, I'm sorry. I went to game 3 of the Knicks. I went to game 4 of the 76ers, and I went to game 4 of the Bucks. So we won all of our games. Every game we went to, we won. I wanted to buy a ticket for game 6. I had a good feeling we might have won if I showed up, but I didn't turn out so well. So we lost. But the great part about it is, next season is going to start in about almost 3 months or so in October or so. We have a lot of time to prepare, get the bodies ready for the Hawks.
So we cracked the code, Malik.
Right.
We know why this is the first offseason episode.
JC to the games.
JC wasn't at the game.
JC,
why'd you let the city down like
JC
that?
to the game.
I
thought you loved the Hawks.
The tickets were as cheap as they probably ever were, but I was still broke.
Hey, man. Hey, you ain't too, bro. If you went to 3 games.
I borrowed money for the last game, game 4. I borrowed money from my grandma, so I still owe her around $200. And we went. I told her, I was like, Grandma, please, we're gonna get the win if you give me the ticket. And we did get the win. We didn't have any Trae Young, but we still got the win. Giannis got hurt that game. It was a freak accident, but hey, again, didn't turn out well. But I still owe my grandma. But birthday is coming up, so hey, it is what it is. We still getting the next season.
Grandma did it for the culture. Grandma
She
did it for the
did. She
culture.
did. I'm serious.
Like
She
the
literally
MLK
said,
jerseys. The
she was like,
MLK
"Here,
jerseys, grandma,
here."
you know,
Right.
all in the same. Little
Exactly.
Scrappy performing during the timeout. Young Jock performing is going down.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
but the thing that I really want to jump into the biggest thing I have. If you guys don't know, if you guys don't know, you shouldn't be listening to this podcast. First of all, the Atlanta Hawks season ended. If you don't know, the season is over for the Atlanta Hawks. I don't know how you ended up on this video, but and subscribe to Atlanta Sports Unlimited while you're here. But yeah, the season ended this past Friday. At the time we're recording this, we're recording this on Monday night. And the Hawks lost in Game 6, 118-107. Cam Reddish showed up big time. Pretty much could not miss from the field. It's something that, you know, people have always kind of talked about Cam. You know, we talked about him being the mystery guy headed into the series. He came in and pretty much over-delivered from our expectations. Here's my thing before we get too deep into it. The reason why I'm concerned about this and why I'm not as jolly and optimistic as everybody else was at the end of this series with, you know, the Hawks are young. They got a bit bright future in front of them, et cetera, et cetera. This isn't easy. Like Danilo Gallinari said it best the day after in his exit interviews. He said, I'm 32. These opportunities, these seasons don't come along often. We had a chance to go to the NBA Finals, and we didn't fulfill those expectations. We didn't fulfill that goal. We didn't fulfill that chance, that opportunity. We didn't seize that opportunity. This was the perfect opportunity for the Hawks to get to the NBA Finals. Now, if they win or not, okay, it is what it is. But a chance to make it, they had no better chance than now. And, you know, you look at first team, I think of 2017 Boston Celtics. They're young. They get to the Eastern Conference Finals. They overachieved. They get there a little earlier than expected. They had a couple of veterans on that team, but it was primarily Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown that they were building around. And everybody just assumed, hey, they have these good veterans around, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, and they got some other young guys, Marcus Smart, Terry Rozier. They're going to be good for a very long time around the East. Bill Simmons said, you know, the winners of the Eastern Conference for the next decade. And he put like a picture of Larry Bird. You know, you already know how Bill Simmons is. He missed
right.
So that is my fear with the Atlanta Hawks, because the Celtics, obviously, in the past 5 years, past 4 years since 2017, since that Eastern Conference Finals run, haven't been back to the Eastern Conference Finals. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. So when you have an opportunity like the Hawks did, as JC alluded to in his opening statement, no Giannis Antetokounmpo for Milwaukee. So they're missing their best player, the two-time MVP. Your best player comes back in an elimination setting at home. We were talking about how they weren't playing well at home all postseason. You have to win that game. You have to win Game 6, and you have to at least give yourself a chance in Game 7 to close the deal and advance to the NBA Finals. The Hawks let it slip away, and now you don't know when the next time is going to be. You already seen the injury prone from Cam. You've already seen the injury prone from DeAndre Hunter. You don't know how healthy those guys are going to be. It's not a guarantee those guys and everybody's going to be healthy. You have no idea, you know, JC, you know, John Collins now. That's the other JC I'm talking about. You don't know if you're going to be able to afford him. You don't know if you're going to be able to afford Kevin Huerter. You don't know if you're going to be able to afford pretty much everybody except for Trae Young. You don't know who you're going to be able to afford to keep in the future. So you don't know how many of these players you're going to still have. So it's not easy. And you had a chance while you had everybody on the team to make the finals, to, you know, take advantage of it. And you let it slip away. So that's why I'm not. It's a good season. Good job, team. That's why I can't do that, because I realized that they fumbled a prime opportunity, despite the fact that they overachieved. Malik, I'll let you speak.
Hey, you don't remember they made the conference finals last year?
Who made the conference finals last year?
The Celtics.
They beat the Heat beat them?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the Heat beat the Bucks in the second round.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
But
man,
no, I mean,
that's the Mickey Mouse
but
Conference Finals.
he was gonna say that. I knew he was gonna say that. but nah, I agree. Like, I understand where you're coming from as far as like not being so optimistic about this season. It's crazy. I actually wrote something for Peachtree that should be coming out soon, just about this whole run. And I feel like I kind of went on the optimistic side, but I kind of just tried to go back and like look back as far as history. And the two teams that I kind of stuck on were the Thunder and the Warriors, and you know how they were able to build through the draft and whatnot. You know, and they were able to win early with young players, and I mean that's a good thing, but also brought up the bad thing. Like, okay, Harden got traded after that finals appearance, and the Thunder they didn't go back to the finals ever since then. And then you got to think about the injuries through the years as well. I mean, just recently, you know, you had Clay being out. Steph was out for some time. Like, it's just it's normal for these things to happen. And also noted that if you haven't noticed, like I feel like recently a lot of players have talked about how it takes a little bit of luck to get to these places. Like, I mean, you got to have the skill, but you're gonna have to have some luck as well. And when you talk about luck, you talk about the injuries. I mean, talk about Trae was hurt, Bogey was hurt, Hunter was hurt, Cam was hurt, but they were still able to kind of push through the Eastern Conference Finals. So, just looking at it on a positive note, I mean, we still really don't know what this team is going to be like because they really weren't fully healthy all season. I mean, if Cam is able to replicate what he did in these past two, 3 games and bring it into next season, that'll be good. If Hunter comes back healthy, that'll be good. But I mean, at the end of the day, you still got to think about, okay, you're not going to be able to pay all of these 7 players, and you still got to worry about John this offseason. And then of course, I mean, it's really just up in the air. So, I mean, it was a good run. It was a good run. I didn't expect it. I don't think anybody expected it. But I do think that you shouldn't be so optimistic. Like, they're going to be a good team. But as far as like making a run to the Eastern Conference Finals every season now, it just doesn't seem like that's going to be a thing. Like, I don't really, unless you were freaking the Warriors or the Cavs, like, and I mean they had LeBron James and Steph Curry, like two of the generational players. Trae not generational, but I mean, shout out to B. McCoy for that, man. But yeah, but I'm done.
Malik messing up the bag. I thought we was trying to get Yoda on here. Malik messing up the bag, but JC.
Lamborghini.
Okay.
Lamborghini.
So
but
this
go ahead, Josh.
This is where I show how long I've been watching basketball. So I started watching basketball like December 2013. One of the first games I watched was the Hawks. Well, you know what? I want to start the Spurs versus the Heat was the first series. So that Heat team was one of my favorite teams. But then I watched a Budenholzer's Hawks, that 38-44 win team. Well, the 38 win team, 44 loss team. Their first season together in 2013-14. When they played in December against the Miami Heat, they had a crazy overtime game. In fact, that whole stretch where they had overtime games against Heat, Charlotte, and the Cavs, I believe, those were when I really became a Hawks fan in 2013. But watching them as they go further, this is the best coach we've ever had. You know, Budenholzer he was a great coach. Listen, he knew how to bring the best out of guys, but he needed certain rotational guys. Maybe Milligan can take superstars or perennial all-stars, and he can exceed, you know, their abilities. Victor Oladipo was one of the greatest two-way players while he was playing for the Indiana Pacers. If we can get one of our wings, I'm saying Kevin Huerter is like on the outside of this, but DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish are probably the go-to guys for being prototypical wing player, the two-way player that the Hawks will need to advance in these playoffs going forward. So those two are like your number one, number two. But look, I mean, sometimes you got to look at the X factors. You know, Kevin Huerter and John Collins, they're sort of the people I have on the outs going into the next season. Like, you can trade off of Kevin Huerter, as great as he was in the playoffs. Those last two games, I mean, he kind of showed a vulnerability. I think Kevin has hit his ceiling. John didn't hit his ceiling, but he does have a ceiling. Cam has no ceiling. Trae has no ceiling. I'm serious. Trae, literally, when he can shoot the ball and pass the ball like the way he does, he has no ceiling, because teams can't stop a guy who can pass the ball and score it, leaving that many opportunities for his teammates. And if he can drill it from 35 feet consistent, you can't stop Trae Young. And if Cam, takes those lessons from Stephen Curry, those shooting lessons, if he starts shooting like Stephen Curry, pulling up from three like Stephen, he went 6 for 7 in game 6, bro. The things that he can do when he gets more shots. If he takes 30 shots a game, he shot 7 for 12. If he takes 30 shots a game, if Cam takes 30 shots a game, he's averaging 30 points like Trae did this season. He's the next superstar. Now, DeAndre Hunter, in my opinion, he took less shots because John has to take his shots. If you don't have John Collins, I'd say start DeAndre Hunter at the 4. I do like this. Trae at the 1, Bogey at the 2, Cam at the 3, DeAndre Hunter at the 4. And listen, as great as Clint was, he's another tradable piece. Karl Anthony Towns.
Hey, JC, he ain't playing with y'all tonight. He ain't playing with y'all tonight, man. Just go to everybody right now. Everybody right now. Do not come up on here if you're not coming with this energy. Rashad, don't do it. Keep the message to yourself. Continue, JC.
Karl Anthony Towns is up for trade. Another guy is Donovan Mitchell. Now, okay, listen. The package for Donovan Mitchell has to be a haul. You might have to give up one, like maybe DeAndre Hunter. That's how big it has to be. But I'm saying there's a package that we can get for a big guy. Like when I say a big guy, I mean Karl Anthony Towns is one of them. Another person I would look at is Joel Embiid. Now, Joel Embiid, we saw him play against the Hawks, but listen, he doesn't like it in Philly. I'm looking at Ben Simmons. I'm saying Ben Simmons, they are catering to Ben Simmons. Every single play they're catering to. They're not going to trade Ben Simmons. You know why? Because they still think he's LeBron James. But what they don't know is Embiid's always been the guy. He's always been the consistent 25 and 10 guy. But the only problem with Embiid is he has injuries. See, seriously. Without some of the fatigue problems, the fitness problems, you would have seen Embiid against Giannis in these conference finals. But the thing about it, Ben Simmons didn't work on his free throws or his shooting. Joel Embiid didn't get into shape. And so they lost to the Hawks in 7 games because they didn't do this. And I was telling people outside the arena that this would happen. The 76ers were going to lose because they didn't work hard enough as the Hawks did. The Hawks just worked harder in the offseason. You can tell. But the biggest difference, here's the biggest difference, people. The Lakers, the reason why the Lakers or the Heat got even out of the first round is because they had very little time to prepare from different seasons. The challenge for the Hawks is now next month you have Summer League. Cam's playing in Summer League. Onyeka's playing in Summer League. All these guys who played in July are going to be playing in August. So there's not much time, again, between breaks. Most of these people barely have a month break, and they're playing basketball again. Now, look, Cam actually had a lot of months off. That's why he's really playing. But guys like Onyeka, a lot of other people, they didn't get a lot of playing time, but they're still going into that mindset. They're going into it like, we're going to play like 365 days, basically, because you basically have little time to prepare. So the Heat, again, they're fatigued. They didn't have much space. So in October, when we roll out, we had this preseason, and still psychologically, we're still pulling on the heartstrings of these playoffs. So we need to make a big offseason move. We need to look at Donovan Mitchell, look at Karl Anthony Towns, look at Joel Embiid, look at these guys. Even now, hey, I wouldn't rule out getting Ben Simmons, but the problem with Ben is the fact that he really is not looking for the shot. So I'm looking for a lot of these other tradable pieces for the Hawks. There are people who want to play for Atlanta, free agents I'm hearing Kawhi Leonard's name out there. I'm hearing a lot of other people out there in the news about a free agent wanting to sign, potentially opt out of the contract and sign with the Atlanta Hawks. You know, Bogdan did it. And so a lot of other tradable pieces that the Hawks have, again, I would say only guys really in for the future are Cam and Trae. From the Doncic trade, Cam and Trae. And then you got Nate McMillan with Cam and Trae, who can pretty much average 25 points for their next 5-10 seasons. That's all-star potential, all-NBA potential. We're talking about finals every year. When you're thinking about
Cam Jordan.
Yeah. And we don't really have a high draft. The point is, this draft is going to be important. A lot of trades are going to be made in this draft. I see the Celtics moving up. I see it. The 76ers might be moving up. A lot of other teams. Again, I got a lot of inside scoops because, again, I've been looking at the Atlanta Hawks. As soon as we drafted Trae Young, everyone wanted to gravitate there. Donovan Mitchell's best friends with Trae. Trae is best friends with a lot of people in the league, but he's really friends with Donovan Mitchell. I know that for a fact.
Is he friends with Luka? I need to know this right now, JC, because I heard a report told me that Trae and Luka were friends. Are they friends?
I think they're frenemies because they know there's some competition. Doncic does not necessarily want to play with Trae like long term. Like maybe later down in their career when they're like Magic and Bird. They're Magic and Bird basically. They're the definition of the. You see when you have these polar opposites, like Curry doesn't necessarily want to play with LeBron. But Damian Lillard wants to play with LeBron because eventually the Mavs and the Hawks are going to meet in the finals. They're like the Celtics and the Lakers. We can feel the end. We can feel it's going to happen. It's inevitable. Trae got this close until that referee got near him. And that accidental injury, that referee, had Trae not gotten hurt in Game 3, we would have won Game 3. We would have won Game 5. We would have won the series. I'm serious. Had Trae not got hurt in Game 3, we would have won the 5 games. Think I'm playing. That would have happened.
Wait, hold on. You said 5 games. How much they lose by in Game 5?
Look, in Game 3, we were up by big until Trae got out. Game 5, look, had Trae set the tone going into it, that would have been like Game 1. We would have got passes off the backboard to John Collins. We would have got dribbled to the legs.
All right, JC. I ain't gonna hold you. You was kicking. You was kicking for a minute. Now you kind of talking like a fan. I'm not gonna lie. They lost by about 80 in Game 5. Let's not do that, JC.
Game 2 was bad.
Respect the Milwaukee Bucks. The number 2 seed. The final
score was 123 to 112. Bogey was hitting his shots. The other couple games Trae was playing, Bogey wasn't playing well. In fact, every game where they played together, Bogey was playing. Every game Trae didn't play, Bogey was hitting his shot.
Right. For sure. But Bogey really got going at the second half of that series. Finally, but it felt like for the first time since the second round. But yeah, man, you said some interesting things there. With the moves for the Stars, who do you trade? Like, do you just deal Collins in a sign and trade deal? Like, how does that work for you?
Now, if I'm Collins, because he's a restricted free agent, a lot of the bad teams are going to try to go after him. We got the Kings. I think the best team might be the Celtics. If they pull off, they might trade Marcus Smart. At best, they might have to trade Marcus Smart for John Collins straight up. I think if it's a team like the Knicks, they wouldn't give up Julius Randle, but they might give up like a complimentary piece, maybe a Knox, and that Knox guy, and maybe a good shooter. I don't think they give up. They might. Do they have Wayne Ellington or no?
I know they have Bullock is a great shooter for them.
I was gonna say it's not gonna be Bullock because he was playing too much. Like literally he was trying to, I think the reason why Chris Dunn didn't get a lot of minutes is because, I think it was a lot of the trouble caused on the court. Sometimes you saw the game against the Sixers. I think Chris Dunn could have had more minutes earlier on, but there might have just been a lot of, he might not be with the Hawks next season. I'm saying guys like Chris Dunn might not be with the Hawks. Lou Williams is probably going to come back. other guys who might come back. I think Brandon Goodwin was really good for us when Trae wasn't playing. Like that game against the Hornets was great. Brandon is probably great. He probably could have played even with the respiratory infection I believe he had. But in his situation, I think there's a lot of other free agents out there like Jeff Teague. Next year, Jeff Teague might come back to the.
No Jeff Teague. No more Jeff Teague in Atlanta.
I'm not ruling out. He hit about three big shots last game. So
like we were talking about that before we recorded. I think Jeff only hit those because it was Atlanta. Like if that was any other arena in the NBA, Jeff Teague doesn't. He
wouldn't have made it. He wouldn't have made those shots.
Teague, like you said, it was crazy that Teague and Budenholzer came into Atlanta and Atlanta's building on those rims and ended their season.
It was irony.
If
I nearly cried because it was so sad. I'm like, this is the saddest thing, and I was like, oh, like this. I feel it. I can feel it.
When he came in early and started making shots, I was like, oh, this dude's about to score like 28, and they're gonna win the game. He's gonna hit like the big shot down the stretch. It wasn't like that because that would have been peak Atlanta, but.
Man,
but he hit, like you said, big shots throughout the night. It wasn't just one shot; it was another one.
I was a big Teague fan back in the day. I was a big Budenholzer stan. When they were playing with Lloyd Pierce, I was so upset, and I should have been upset. But at the same time, with Lloyd, it's a miracle. We never would have found Nate. We never would have found Nate if we didn't have Lloyd. You know what I'm saying? We never would have found Nate. And it was like a miracle. Like when Nate came on the scene, we were like, this just feels different. Like basketball feels like basketball again. We're passing the rock. We're making shots. I was like, it feels like basketball again. He brought basketball back. When Nate McMillan came and coached for Atlanta, he brought the city back. And that's why I'm confident we'll make it back even to the finals. I mean, we can even reach the finals with Nate McMillan because he's instilled belief in his players. His players have bought into the system. And earlier on, that was great to have. As interim coach, they were just happy not to have Lloyd as a coach. But at the same time, Nate had let these players trust, not just in the system, but in themselves. To what Cam wouldn't have been able to accomplish the things he did without Nate McMillan having coached him in Game 6. The things that he did in Game 6, the types of confidence he had in Game 6 was like another level of what we dreamt about. We dreamt about moments like that. A single moment like Game 6 is what Hawks fans have been dreaming about since he was drafted. And Trae, that Game 1 is what we've been dreaming about since he was drafted. We knew it could happen, but we didn't see it on national TV on this scale. Shaq doing the dollar bill Hawk thing. I'm like this is a miracle. Like this is like the greatest thing in Atlanta Hawks history. I mean, the human highlight film, the 60-win teams. I mean, Josh Smith coming off and dunking over people. Like there's a history, but this was the greatest postseason in Atlanta Hawks history. It just felt different. There was something different about it. It felt different.
Right. And what irony of the NBA coaching carousel. How do you say carousel? Carousel. Well, anyways, the NBA coaching thing. With the Hawks pretty much traded with the Indiana Pacers. With
Rick Carlisle too.
Yeah. So now so Carlisle goes to Indiana from Dallas. He goes back to Indiana, and his top assistant is Lloyd Pierce. Who's traded for Nate McMillan, the former Indiana Pacers head coach. He goes down to Atlanta as a head assistant for Lloyd Pierce in Atlanta, and then McMillan becomes the head coach. Lloyd Pierce loses his job and then goes to Indiana. So I don't know. Those things are.
All I can say is Lloyd did all of that. I'm sorry, no, Nate did all of that. Nate is who changed the course of NBA history. The Mavs had to really fire everybody. You notice that? They probably have to trade Kristaps Porzingis. Another team that John Collins is slated to go to is the Mavericks. Now, Kristaps Porzingis does not like playing with Luka Doncic at all. He does not like playing with Luka. I think Trae.
You really want to incite some fire, some more fuel into that rivalry.
Oh yeah, I really think Trae.
What happens if we see a KP John Collins sign and trade deal this summer? What does Twitter do? Does the app Does your phone just it'll like disintegrate?
It would be explosive. But in that situation, both teams would benefit because here's the thing: John Collins can really rebound the basketball when he tries. But KP is a greater 3-point shooter. Like the level of range that Kristaps Porzingis has at his disposal. I mean, with the injuries, ACL, whatever, the level of range that Kristaps has with his disposal is unmatched. Like I don't want to say like Dirk, but I'm saying for a big man to shoot like that, Gallo can really shoot like that. So you wouldn't want Gallo to like start like if he was younger. You wanted Gallo to start if he was younger, right? If 5 years younger, I would have Gallo start for the team over John because of the shooting abilities. But what Kristaps offers is also that size and athleticism. There's a different level. But I'd say it's an equal trade for both teams because the Mavericks would need a John Collins, in my opinion. They would need a guy like John Collins. Now, listen, I want to keep JC. I want to keep John Collins with the Hawks. But because he's a restricted free agent, like the Bogey situation this past year, like the Hawks want John Collins. But the thing is, he didn't play for the max. He wasn't playing in the playoffs for the max. If he had a 35-20 game, I'll give him the max instantly. And we had 4 games stringed up like 30, 20-point games. Yeah, but
and also, Josh, before you continue to,
right.
Travis Slank, he spoke to local media today, which was Monday, and he said that, John, a lot of times when you see a guy entering restricted free agency, they play for numbers, and that's something that he felt like John didn't do in the postseason. He was playing, for the betterment of the team and to help the team win. Those were Travis Slank words. Continue.
That's interesting because he had addressed that he wasn't playing for the numbers. Now, John could have played with the numbers and still won because some games, that 4-point game he had in game 4, he had a 4-point game and we still blew them out by like 20 points. So it showed, I mean, if you looked at his plus minus and all that stuff, his plus minus, like defensively, is off the chart. I mean, it's actually great with Capela. Those two together defensively are unstoppable. But the problem with those two, sometimes they clog the paint sometimes. It's exactly they sometimes do the same things with the post up. Now, Clint wasn't doing post up at all. Where he'd get it was off of lobs. Maybe he would get a rebound. He tried to dunk, go up. Maybe he found the ball, Clint like that. But Clint could very well average 20-20, without John. But the problem is he had to work hard. He had to work twice as hard. So both Clint and John were feeding off each other, and they worked. They didn't have to work as hard, but they still got the job done on the defensive end. It was what you saw in the regular season. So only guys I think who can really compensate for John's defensive capabilities, Karl Anthony Towns, like I said, again, Randall's not getting traded. Julius Randall's not getting traded, but he's another guy that earlier on in the season was really great. And I think another guy I want to pick from the Western Conference who's a power forward, I want to even go over to like maybe an unheard of guy. I think Terrence Mann. Has anybody heard of Terrence Mann?
You got to throw some more respect on Terrence Mann, man. The man just did his thing in the conference finals. Don't do Terrence Mann like that. He's an NBA player.
I'm saying maybe like both two ways. Like there's some underrated guys this season. There's some guys like they say who's really gonna get the bag. Like there's some guys who's really stepped up in the playoffs like we've never seen. The types of scoring Terrence Mann did. You look at like why didn't John Collins do that? But it's like, Terrence Mann really showed up when Kawhi was out. You're like, this is why the Clippers were winning games without Kawhi Leonard. So that's what we needed from John. We needed John in game 5. Now look, he scored 19, but sometimes if he had stepped up like 35 points, I'm like, pay this man. But sometimes it's just like game 5, those situations without Trae, that's when you got to step up. That was what I was thinking. So the guy, I wouldn't get a guy like Kuzma because he might not get. He's plateaued. He can't get. He's like Tyler Hero. He lets the fame get to his head. Tyler Hero is like, oh, I had a 30-point game. Ooh, I'm gonna show myself. I'm gonna box. I'm gonna box now on Instagram. So I mean, Tyler Hero is a great player, but Kevin Huerter is better than Tyler Hero. You know, and you look at Kyle Kuzma. He's on the championship team, but he didn't score more than 7 points in the play. Like maybe I might have had a 14-point game, a 15-point game, but Kyle Kuzma, you know, Kevin Love might be more consistent than Kyle Kuzma. That's the thing we're saying. I wouldn't trade John Collins for Kevin Love. I wouldn't do that, or Bismack Biyombo, because John Collins could do more than Bismack Biyombo and Kevin Love. At Kevin Love's age, you know, even younger. You know, I think if John was being a go-to guy in the team, if the coaches gave him the green light, if the coach on that team, or if it's a really bad team or a really good team, if they gave him the green light, he would average 25 and 10 every night. But this team, it's Trae's team. It's Trae Young's team. And when Cam Reddish is playing at his best, it's Cam Reddish's team. You know, I don't think DeAndre is hungry enough necessarily to get it on his own, but he can actually do that. He can get 35 if you need him to. So he's that third guy. So look, John is the fourth best player. On their best night, he's their fourth best player.
JC, I got a question for you. Do you think it's a little too early to give Cam Reddish the team already? Like, I mean, I know he's played well, and, you know, the fans have always been high on him, but don't you think it's a little too kind of premature? And then also another thing you said, too, earlier, when you said Kevin Huerter has already hit his ceiling. He's only like 22, man. Like, you're not going to give him, like, 2 more summers?
The problem is it's based off the shots. A lot of the shots that he makes are really tough shots. Like, the thing about it is when you're in the offense, I want him to play like Klay Thompson. The way you run around the screens, the way you're doing that. Or J.J. Redick. J.J. Redick, a guy, or even Kyle Korver. Peak Kyle Korver. The way that he would run. But sometimes when I think of Kevin, if he has more touches, he's averaging high numbers on a bad team. Like if he goes to Orlando, if Kevin Huerter goes to Orlando, he averages 22 points per game because he gets those. He dribble. He likes to dribble the ball, but his handle isn't as good as Trae. He has to work on the handles because that way he won't. You know, I mean, look, he doesn't necessarily turn it over a lot, but the thing is, the handles slow the offense down. You're holding the ball 18 seconds in the shot clock, and then you fumble the ball the last 9 seconds. Those are the types of plays we saw from him earlier on, but for him, I want him to go off the ball like Klay Thompson. He doesn't need to dribble the ball. He doesn't even need to pass the ball. He just needs to catch it and shoot. And sometimes that's all you really need from a player like that. But sometimes he goes for the fadeaways. He goes for the hard shots. You know what I'm saying? Like
he's
those
more
types
than
of
a
shots
shooter, man.
are like,
He's trying to, you know, redefine the role of, I guess, the stereotype that was placed on him when he got drafted.
Those are like but as a shooting guard, unless you're Michael Jordan, like you're Kobe Bryant, unless you're the go-to man on your team, I'm saying Kevin will never be the go-to man on the Hawks. And that's a good thing because only when games like when we really needed it, when Trae was playing like really bad in that game 7 against the Philadelphia 76ers, when Kevin Huerter drops that 27 points, he looks so comfortable doing it because he has the ball in his hands the whole time. You know, off the dribble, he has that through the legs. You know, he likes to do that. You know, if I wouldn't split the handling responsibility between him, Cam, John, DeAndre, Trae. There's too many cooks in the kitchen. The thing about it now, somebody has to sacrifice. Somebody has to let go off the ball like Klay did for Steph and KD. You see, it's like Steph and KD at the point guard and small forward. The way they have to play, the pick and rolls, they have to play these passing lanes. People have to cut. People have to screen, and people have to shoot their threes because that's how they get their shots. Sometimes when you're hunting your shots, when you're constantly have to shoot it to make a shot, that takes the team down because you keep missing. So a guy like Bogdanovich can just catch it and shoot it. He immediately took his spot. I say he was more of the two. He was more of the two guard. And Cam, think about Cam, he only took one dribble. He could take one dribble, go off the dribble, take a shoot. He can go lay it. He can lay it up from the 3-point line with one dribble. I'm like, he can do jelly and a spin move into a layup at his peak capacity. But we've never seen him make it in because you
but Malik heard Cam and spin move in the same sentence. He got PTSD. Say something, Malik. Say something, Malik. Get on in there, Malik. Go ahead. Say something.
Look, that spin move ain't it. That spin move that Cam do is not it because it's never went in. It has never went in.
Yet it hasn't went in
Yes!
yet. It's always because look,
Right.
I think the spin move works.
Do you think Hunter is better than Cam? Do you think Cam is better than Hunter?
When we drafted him, I wanted the Hawks to draft Cam over Hunter. I'm glad they drafted both of them. But listen, the thing about DeAndre Hunter, physically, he's an athletic guy. However, it took him a while to really hit those dunks. You know what I'm saying? He hurts himself on the dunks because he doesn't dunk much. Cam always dunked the ball. Earlier on in college and high school, that's what his specialty was. He dunked the ball. We just haven't seen some of the things he did because he didn't get many opportunities to touch the ball.
JC.
Right.
Are you saying Cam is better than Hunter right now? Do you think Cam is better than Hunter right now?
What I'll say is this. When they peak, when they're in MVP conversation the next 5 years, when they peak, you're going to be hearing more about Cam Reddish than DeAndre Hunter, but it's going to be close. DeAndre can average 20 and maybe 8 or 20 and 10. But Cam is going to be a 25, 30-point scorer at his peak because of his emotion. Game 6 was all about emotion. You saw that every time he was cussing down the floor, he was pointing at people. He was giving finger signs. DeAndre Hunter is more of a calm guy. He's like Kawhi. But the thing about Kawhi, he had Pop, and Pop taught him the way. And the thing about Cam, he doesn't. He's self-taught. People don't know Cam has always been self-taught. If you listen to Anthony Edwards talk about Cam Reddish in the interview, he's like, this guy is crazy. Like, Cam is like, we have a nickname. His Cam fam is right here. We've seen a smiling Cam in Game 6. That was Killer Cam. This is Cam fam right here. Cam fam is the guy who always smiles every game. He's like, but Killer Cam is the guy who's like, we're going to get this done. We're going to get this W. And you don't see this from many partners. Right.
So we got Ice Trae.
Yep.
We got Red Velvet.
Yep.
And we got Killer Cam now.
That's
what we're going with.
No,
Cam. You got to be Killer Cam now. After Game 6, it's Killer Cam. Well, after Game 6, but since you're the only one on the Atlanta Hawks who wanted to play basketball in an elimination situation in the Eastern Conference Finals, 2 games away from the NBA Finals, you get whatever the heck nickname you want. Killer Cam, if you want that Killer Cam with the little mink coat and the cell phone and the flip phone, if you want to do that, Cam, you could do that, Cam, because you're the only one who wanted to play in a Game 6 elimination situation 2 games away from the NBA Finals. You're the only one on the Atlanta Hawks who decided, hey, I'm going to play basketball today. So you know what? If you want Killer Cam, you get Killer Cam.
But one thing I want to add, Cam was going to fight somebody that night. Because somebody in the crowd says something to I know somebody in the crowd says something like he's like yo you be trash, but he want thing about Cam and Trae, they're petty because they want to prove their haters wrong. In the Knicks, it was about proving the all the FU trades wrong. It was about Philly doing the same thing. Trae's balding. People don't know about Trae's balding. Michael Jordan was bald. Charles Barkley was bald. Everybody who was a great basketball player was bald. Shaq is bald. I mean, everybody who was bald was a great basketball player. So that's it.
LeBron.
He's averaging 40 points. If Trae Young cuts off all of his hair, he's going to be like Stone Cold Steve Trae, basically. We're going to call him Stone Cold Trae. That's how bad it's going to be.
It's going from Ice Trae to Stone Cold Trae?
Stone Cold Trae when he cuts that off. I'm serious. He's going to just cut it off when he's like, I don't even care anymore. I'm bald.
Oh man, but Malik, what do you have now? What do you have now? I'll let you get together and stuff like that. In the meantime, hey, JC, I told y'all, man. I said, hey, if y'all not coming with this energy, do not come up here, bro. JC did not come to play with y'all tonight, but I guess let me just think of anything, right, real quick.
I don't know what to ask him. He really just hit every point, bro, in like an hour.
Really, I think Dre is like, I don't know. I think Dre was the second best player on the team this year. When everybody was healthy, I thought Dre was the second best player, and that goes back to JC of like, yo, you're supposed to be number 2. You had the chances to prove you're number 2 with Trae was out and Dre was out in the playoffs, and you kind of weren't necessarily that that guy. You were a guy, but you weren't that guy. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Talking to the players, it seems like the players just have a nice camaraderie with JC, with John, and he wrote that letter to Atlanta and was talking about what his role is with the team, of being the executive vibes president and stuff like that, and shaking everybody's hand and speaking to everybody before the game. That tightness, that fist, that's something that you can't recreate, which is why, when you see the young teams and you want them to stay together, you want a guy like a John Collins to stay with the team. You want a guy like a Solomon Hill to stay with the team, just for the sake of the camaraderie aspect of, keeping the team together and stuff like that. But I don't know. I feel like John is going to have to take probably a bit of a discount from what he could have got on a market if he wants to stay in Atlanta and really kind of make things work.
And the only downside with that, because he's a restricted free agent, it's pretty much, only way, again, they can keep him is if they match whatever offer that John is offered. He's going to be offered a max, by Orlando. Like, it's going to be a max from a team that needs a guy who can drop 20 and 10, who is a good character guy. John is an amazing character guy. He comes from a military background family. He's one of the people, again, he has a storied history from his childhood, of negative experiences. But in terms of his life going forward, John is a great franchise player. I would say Minnesota would want a guy like John. I would say a place like Houston. Oh, no. Not Houston. They have Christian Woods, I believe. So that's actually, Christian Woods is another guy I was going to discuss. But a guy, his place is San Antonio. San Antonio without LaMarcus Aldridge, they need a power forward. They need John Collins. San Antonio.
I'm glad you brought that up earlier, Rashad. I forgot you just said something that maybe about Solo and what Solo was talking about in his exit interview about. I think he was talking about something like they need a dog or something like that, like a high energy guy that's gonna come in and play a lot of minutes. And he was like, it can't be him because we know Solo didn't play that many
He don't
minutes.
play enough.
But he said, yeah, but he was like Cam was a perfect example of that. Like he was
and
that
Bobby
dog
Portis
in Game 6. And Bobby Portis, like they were those guys that came in and were those dogs for the team. So I think that, and I don't honestly, I still don't see, like I saw the excitement and everything from Cam. That was like the first time I've actually seen him that excited and hype. I feel like he was that excited and hype because, he hasn't been on the floor forever. And he's coming back in the Eastern Conference Finals and he's doing good. Yeah, you're going to be excited. And you're in front of the home crowd, like you're going to be excited. But if you've seen Cam, if you've like interviewed Cam, if you just sat around, like, Cam is like so quiet, like that's something you don't expect. So I don't know if he'll be that dog, like, because honestly, everybody expected before the season, everybody thought Chris Dunn was gonna be that guy.
Yeah,
he's gonna bully people around or whatnot, do this and that. And he barely played. So I'm interested to see if they'll have that person going forward. And also, just I know Schlenk earlier was talking about how the backup point guard position is going to be an emphasis. So I'm interested to see where they go as far as that as well. So those are two big things that I got.
I haven't done any type of work yet on the draft yet, which we have to do, Malik, for Peachtree as well. But I guess the lazy pick would be like the hometown kid, Tay Cooper's little brother from Auburn.
I gotta check him out. That sounds like good.
If you get Tay Cooper's little brother from Auburn, if he's still available at 20, hometown kid, he's a PG, scrappy. He's got Brandon Goodwin's haircut, Trae Young's attitude, with minus Trae Young's range. So I don't know. I think that would be a match made in heaven. But like I said, I haven't done any type of research on this draft because the Hawks have played all the way into July. So, but yeah, that's kind of an early thing I'm looking at. And then, D Rose is on the block this year for free agency. But a lot of people are saying they think his loyalty is to Thibs because, Thibs is his guy. And, he's the one who's going to give him the most opportunity at this point of his career. But I don't know. If I'm D Rose and I'm looking at Thibs, I'm looking at Dog,
The bag.
I'm 38. You try to play me 38
You
minutes a
hurt
night.
me.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah.
Like in a playoffs, dog. Like I could get
That's
2
the
more bags if I
no-go.
go to the right situation. I get a little more reserved role. So you
What
know,
do you think? Where do you think Derrick Rose is gonna go?
I don't know. I'll probably stay with New York, but I don't know, man. If Atlanta like that, that's something that Atlanta can offer a better situation, in my opinion. So you know what I'm saying, D Rose, if you want to come today.
I got a prediction.
In New York already has like 5 point guards.
Right.
It's crazy.
Who?
So
Who?
they got Derek, Quickly, Frank.
Oh yeah, quickly.
Alfred.
They got to
And it's
trade.
some overseas dude they signed in the middle of the season. I forgot his name. I forgot his name. I keep forgetting his name. But they got a lot of point guards.
Derrick Rose is gonna go wherever Kawhi Leonard goes.
So you think Kawhi's leaving?
Oh yeah, he has the opt out. Kawhi has no choice but to opt out.
But I thought Kawhi wanted to stay. He went home. Like he wanted to be home. That was his big thing, right? To be home.
Lakers are next door, but I honestly think he's gonna go back to the Eastern Conference. For Kawhi Leonard and his championships, he has to go to a team with an established star. I think one of them, like I said, is Atlanta, and another team I'm leaving out.
So he's giving up on PG?
Paul George is established, isn't he?
Oh, here's the thing. Paul George had a chance, but at all of his games, there's always one free throw he misses, or 2 free throws he misses, or that shot he misses, or that turnover he makes. It was always that one thing that leads them to lose the game. Like, Paul George was the deciding factor of all the Phoenix games, and they could have won that series without Kawhi. But in my situation, I would say Kawhi goes to the Eastern Conference. He can go back to Toronto, or I'm saying the Celtics could make a signing trade, or the Knicks are playing better. He could go to the Knicks. Kawhi could go to the Knicks.
What's signing trade for the Celtics? Please tell me not Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown.
In Kawhi's situation, I think he opts out. Kawhi opts out.
If he opts out, then he's gonna be okay.
He could sign with the Knicks. Or he could go even to what's a team that might have a star in the rising in the Eastern Conference? I think you know the name of it.
Charlotte.
Charlotte is one of them, LaMelo Ball, but another
There's
team.
no way Kawhi's leaving LA, his hometown, for Charlotte.
Miami with Jimmy Butler. Miami could trade for a third star and then sign a guy. They have to get rid of Tyler Hero. They could get rid of Bam if they wanted to. And honestly, Duncan might not be around. So if they get those package, they can get a trade for Karl Anthony Towns, or they can get a point guard, maybe a Damian Lillard for the Miami Heat. If I'm looking at it correctly, the Miami Heat are the next super team. Or the New York Knicks. New York Knicks, it might take them a while again. It might take them next season. But one of these big market franchises is going to be a super team to match the Nets, you know?
I don't think so, but I mean, we'll see. I know.
We're going to see some crazy things.
I didn't see Harden going to Brooklyn, so I mean, you never know in the league. So.
Yeah, I didn't see. I saw it coming because look, I think they have to trade Kyrie. Kyrie has to get traded for Damian Lillard.
You coming with the hot takes, JC. I'm not gonna lie. Like every time I'm thinking it's coming down, you pop up with another one. I was just like, wait, what?
Bro. The Nets have to trade Kyrie Irving. I looked at it. I'm like, he's the odd man now. I'm like, it wasn't just injury. Like, there were some things in the middle of the season, he was just talking about some mad stuff. Like, he wanted to start his own league. I believe, these types of things, like, you can just get somebody else in place of Kyrie, like a Damian Lillard, or even Westbrook. Westbrook would be perfect for the big three. Have you seen Westbrook and James Harden and Kevin Durant playing one more time together?
Yeah, they lost. They lost the last time they played together.
They won't be playing LeBron, Chris Bosh, and D Wade. That's the only person who can stop them. Hey,
that's a good point. Hey, that's a good point. You make good points.
And Damian Lillard. Hey, LeBron, AD, and Damian Lillard could beat them. But that's about it.
So you're trading Kyrie for Russell Westbrook?
I would say this. I'm not just trading Kyrie. Maybe some picks involved, and maybe also because the Nets never always go after picks. They're always the ones giving away picks. But also for the Nets, they're also getting rid of maybe a guy who wasn't the best leader for a team. Like Westbrook, you can say he's a leader. You can say Russell Westbrook is a great. They wouldn't have come to the playoffs. They wouldn't even made it to the playoffs had Russell Westbrook not been on the team. Bradley Beal is a great scorer and all. Russell Westbrook helped carry them into the playoffs. Without a doubt.
Go ahead, Malik.
I definitely believe that for sure. I just don't see. I just don't see that happening though. I mean, yeah, I don't see that happening.
I think it's more so like
Westbrook,
the fact
Kyrie
that they brought it together. Like like Kyrie and KD, they went to Brooklyn together and they wanted to play together, and then James wanted to play with KD again. So it's like, like those guys like wanted to come together as friends, as genuine friends, not like the type of friends Luka and Trae are. But frenemies, exactly. So, I think, the fact that they didn't even get a shot together, and because when they played together, that first series, them jokers was unbeatable.
Unbeatable.
I don't even know how they lost the game in the first round, but
the Celtics were playing well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what happened. Tatum scored like 80 points, but like
without Daly.
So yeah, man. So anyway, yeah. I don't see that happening with Brooklyn, and then like with LA, like I don't see Kawhi leaving his hometown after wanting to be with his hometown, and then not getting a fair shake at it when he was right there from the finals. They won a couple games without him. PG stepped up into that PG. He shaked off all of that pandemic P talk. So I think the fact that if you could have got that PG with Kawhi, I think it would have been very tough for them, to not at least push it to 7 games with the Suns. I'm still giving the Suns their credit because, they got to where they are and stuff, and they are the number 1 seed. But yeah, in that sense and stuff. The number 2 seed, excuse me. Shout out to Utah. I guess wrapping up now, JC, who is on your Hawks Mount Rushmore?
Hawks Mount Rushmore, Dominique Wilkins. I also want to put, earlier guys like Bob Pettit and Pete Maravich. Also, I even know maybe a guy. I don't want to just.
You only have 4.
Add Trae Young. Trae Young is already on that 4. He's the 4th guy, and then the 5th guy is. I want to say
you only have 4. You only have 4 on Mount Rushmore.
You only got 4. Only 4.
Oh. Yeah, I thought he was like a starting 5.
Is that your 4, or are you gonna switch some people out?
Honestly, I'm gonna put Trae on there. Neek is a given. When I put those other guys, I think Pete Maravich was more. He's an inspiration when I see him. When I look at Trae, I see a lot of Pete Maravich. I would probably just replace Trae with Pete Maravich with Trae Young off the list. So Trae, Dominique Wilkins. I want to pick a guy who was really a great Hawk. Paul Millsap was a great Atlanta Hawk. For me personally, growing up, I watched him. Just the rest of the starting 5 is honorable mention, in my opinion. And then the 4th guy is really a toss-up. But you can say it's probably Bob Pettit because he still has a lot of things around here, a lot of things named after him. He's a legend, so. He was a lot of things done in St. Louis, before the champion. Like the championship in St. Louis is what I'm accounting for. So that's why I'll say for the Hawks it's the big 4.
Me personally, all salute, all due respect to Bob Pettit, but he won his championship before Black people were allowed to play in the NBA.
Okay.
They weren't really allowed to play in the NBA back then. Like, right. The Celtics had the only Black players. That's why they won 11 championships.
That's true.
That was being petty. All jokes aside, Pettit, I don't really – it's like you can count him. I'm not mad at the pick because it's the only championship and he was the leader of that team. But it's also St. Louis, so it's like, oh, no. It's like,
okay, maybe I'll replace it with Moses Malone.
Moses Malone. Okay. Shout out to Moses. Former MVP.
Right.
But I mean not with the Hawks, but just MVP period. And a pretty good piece with the Hawks with Dominique. I'm going Dominique, Trae. I think Trae's the second best player in franchise history now. Like
that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot after 3 years. That's saying a lot.
Yeah. I'm jumping him up there just off of this playoff run alone. It's the best run in Atlanta history. Excuse me. Hold on now. I think I'm gonna go Joe Dikembe.
Oh yeah, Joe. Oh, Joe is cold. Wait, I switched Moses with Joe.
Okay.
I'm gonna actually replace Paul with T. But I mean, based off of what I saw, because look, if
Hawks legend Jeff Teague,
based off of representation, if Teague wins the championship this year, he would actually be the Hawk who won the championship. Like just to say he's a Hawk who won the championship.
T gotta go on the stage and say I did it for the 60-win team.
Because I secretly know he's a Hawk in his heart. When he hits those shots, I'm like the way he screams. I was like he's still a Hawk. He used because look at his tenure is longer tenure than Millsap, than DeMar Carroll, Horford. His tenure was really long, like 7 years or so. So it based off of and then he came back for a season, like half a season, to play with Trae like last season. So because of that, I had to put him maybe my number 4. If they would have really won the championship. So I put him ahead of even Paul, and then I put Joe Johnson. I'm gonna put Trae. I'm gonna put Dikembe Mutombo. Dikembe was close, but I had to put Dominique in number 1. Dikembe was like number 6 or so.
Because I think I feel like I'm always go with Joe and Trae in mind. I'm gonna go Joe, Trae, Neek, and I feel like if Jeff Teague wins the championship, I just got to put him in there just for the culture, man.
You just average 30.
I mean, because I'm a big Jeff Teague. I was a big Jeff Teague fan, like a huge Jeff Teague fan.
Nah, JC, you're not slipping that in there. You're not slipping. Hey, Malik kept talking. I'm like, you're not about to slip that in there. Oh yeah, he gonna win Finals MVP. No sir, you're not getting away with that. No sir.
Crazy things have happened. Andre Iguodala
in 2015 is way different than Jeff Teague in 2021. Jeff Teague ain't scored 10 points in 8 years. He ain't scored 10 points in the game since the 2015 season.
He dropped 20 for the Hawks last season.
And the Hawks ain't even go to the bubble.
Oh man, come on, T let us down last season, man. T let the Hawks down. But salute to Jeff Teague, man. Salute to Jeff Teague. But continue.
That's my boy. But my 4, I'm gonna put my 4th is probably Al. I'm gonna go Al.
Good choice.
Go Al. But I'm gonna switch him out. If Jeff Teague win, I'm switching him out with Al. Right. So be on the lookout.
I was a cool dude. Like just a human. Like the way he left was kind of messy. I think it was the first time he left the team, so he didn't really know how to.
It was his sister's fault.
And his dad's. His dad's too. His dad and his family. His family messed him up. But so salute to Al. He's a good person. Obviously, a messy exit, but that shouldn't take away from what he did in Atlanta and his time in the city. But yeah, man, I guess that's all we have for this week, JC. We appreciate you coming on so much. It was an enjoyable episode.
Thank you, JC.
I had some good laughs, man. It was very entertaining.
Thank you.
Love the energy, everything.
I needed that.
Back on this summer. I got to bring you back. We might bring you back on next week. I don't know. We might bring you back on next week.
We might bring you on somebody else.
These jokers, man, like I'm telling you, man, do not hit me up trying to come on the show if you're not coming with this energy. I'm letting you know right now.
Please watch this episode. Please watch this episode.
This is the standard. This is the bar. The bar has been
right. Facts.
But yeah, man. Everybody go around and let the people know where you can find them. Make sure you subscribe to Atlanta Sports Unlimited. This is, in Malik's words, the road to 2K subs.
Go ahead, Josh. Tell them where you're from. Tell them where
All right, so I am from Kennesaw, Georgia, and I am
Don't give him that. Don't give him that. Hey, that's too much. That's too much. Let him know about the books. Plug the books. And Instagram, Twitter, all that.
Oh yeah, I like to just say most of my Instagram and Twitter is gonna be under Josh Chigumira. So everything's no crazy things. Just go to Instagram.
How do you spell it?
The first name again is Joshua, but the last name is a little bit more complicated. But it's Chigumira. I think I spelled that right. I don't know. But the point is, it's a Zimbabwean name, so it's gonna be awesome. Okay, that's it for today, guys. I'm sweating here. I didn't have AC on.
Boy, your hot takes got you hit, huh?
You know, I'm sweating right now. I'm sweating.
Your hot takes got you sweating, boy.
Woo.
Said a hot take. I'm sweating. Woo.
Ric Flair.
Go ahead, Malik.
All right,
go ahead,
man.
Malik.
Y'all can find me as always on Twitter and Instagram at _Malik ATL. You know, subscribe to Atlanta Sports Unlimited.
Man, you guys already know, man. RashadMelon.com. You can follow me on Twitter at the number 4. Excuse me. Looking the letter 4 love_like Atlanta loves Cam on Twitter.
Wow.
And that's where you guys can. So you know what I'm saying.
Cam.
Hey,
I love that. Oh yeah, I just want to say.
Go ahead.
On Twitter, it is Josh Chig. I'm sorry. Josh, no space, just Josh, and then no space, Chig. That's
all right. Y'all go follow Mans. He already laid it out. You heard the hot takes. You seen this entertainment. You seen, it's quality. It's quality content. Oh, plug your books. Plug the book. What's the latest book you got out? Where can they find it?
We got The Endless Hopelessness of Romance here. We got, let me see what else. I was trying to slide it out. We got Joshua Stakeout episode 1 Before Morning.
That's the one I have.
The Kings of Atlanta, the script book. This is episode 4. I think I have 2 more editions and then I'm done. On sec. And episode 3 and episode 2, Joshua Stakeout. So you want to check out these books again? They're all on Amazon, on Goodreads as well, and Barnes & Noble.
Y'all support this Black King. How many you got? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Some of y'all ain't even read 6 books in y'all entire life.
Thanks.
What is y'all doing? Some of y'all ain't even read 6 books outside that was assigned to you. Even the books that was assigned to you ain't read 6 of them. So support the Black King. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, buy the books on Amazon right now. Look them up right now. Buy them expeditiously. Support the man. Support the King. You see he's an intelligent mind. Go ahead, Josh.
Got a 7-1 out called Marshall Mike just out yesterday. And I just want to say again, if y'all want to start following your dreams, writing is easier than writing. Writing is easier than reading sometimes. Just free thinking, of course. But again, these books are from Amazon. So everybody, God bless y'all. It was great seeing y'all today. I love to see y'all.
Appreciate it, bro.
Josh, give the folks a good word. Give the folks a good. I know I'm putting you on the spot. Give the folks a good word to close us out.
Oh yes. We are gathered here today to say thank God for Nate McMillan and the Atlanta Hawks and Trae Young and Cam Reddish and all the other Atlanta Hawks. Thank God for them. Thank God for Rashad Milligan. Thank God for thank God for Malik Brown. And thank God for, what's the name of this podcast?
Birds and the Buckets.
Thank God for the birds and the buckets. Thank God for.
Yes, sir.
New intro.
Hey, man, we'll see y'all next week. Y'all take care. Y'all be easy.
And if they come out clean.